Oh, come, Emmanuel.
Every Christmas Santa missed us, we was broke. Now I get this guy.
Hey guys, this is Hope Said It back with another Hope Said It video for you. The background is different. My clothes are a little different. It is the holiday season, and this week we are talking about the top 10 shows of all time. For me, it is binge watching season. I'm watching as many shows as I can that my kids will allow me to, okay? You can see my sweater's even lighting up. I got my flop going on. First of all, how is it supposed to flop? From the back to the front? Y'all can see the ball from the front, so I'll just do that, but I'm probably wearing it wrong. I don't care, y'all. This is the top 10 shows of all time, and it has to be off air though. That's the only caveat, because you know, you never know how a season's gonna go with shows that are already on the air, so I let the show go all the way to completion, and then we're gonna talk about it. So I had the list on this week's blog post, hopesaidit.com, and I had the top 10 and the reasons why. This podcast, I'm gonna add the honorable mentions, and I'm gonna add some of the suggestions that people added, like, hey, I would add this, and I'll tell you why I personally cannot add the show that you requested. Okay, and there's gonna be a lot. I know, guys, this is just my list, okay? I know there's gonna be a lot of objections, a lot of, oh, take away her black card. Listen, I'm black, even if I don't watch Martin, okay? We'll get to that later. So, number one on the list, I gotta hop to it because this might be a long one and I don't wanna keep y'all too long, but it's a holiday and it's my last video of the year. So I don't know, maybe I will keep you long, we'll just see. And I'm not saying this is not in order. This is not like the best of 10. I just have to lump the 10 together, and I'm just gonna do it from like kind of oldest to newest, okay? Like I can't rank these 10 because that's how hard this was for me. Okay, I Love Lucy though is number one because I don't care what you say, Lucille Ball was ahead of her time with that comedic timing. Like seriously, it was black and white. I don't even watch black and white, but just her antics. I don't even do slapstick like that. I don't do slapstick comedy like that. And even the most popular scenes that she has, where she's like shoving the chocolate down her mouth and Vitamita Benjamin, those aren't even my favorite. Like if you think that's really what Lucy's about, yeah, she did that, but she also was quick with it. And she made fun of Ricky and his accent. And you know, it was kind of her retorts, hello SAT, were real quick.
You heard what I said.
As usual, there's no logical explanation for doing it the way you're doing it. Ricky, promise me something.
What?
Promise me that until our child is at least 19 or 20 years old, you won't talk to it.
She just clapped back before her time. So it was I Love Lucy's number one, but it has to be I Love Lucy proper. Once you go to like Lucy Loves Desi and all these other stuff, like they try to really capitalize on the Lucille Ball name. I'm sticking to I Love Lucy. Even Ricky with his little Babaloo and his, oh my goodness, I know his little Cabana songs even now. And I'm like, why do I know this? You know, like the real songs when he would perform. And even when Lucy tried to get into the shows, that was funny to me, y'all. I don't care. It was just a great show that stood the test of time. I can watch I Love Lucy now. And that's another thing about this list. It has to stand the test of time. I have to be in the mood for some shows. The list here, these shows on this list, you can watch them at any time. And that's really why I picked them. Next, if you don't have Good Times on your show, then I can't even be friends with you. Good Times was the first time I saw a broke family on TV, a black broke family on TV, but it was a two-parent household. They were just trying to make it. No criminal stuff going on. It's just, hey, we're broke. We're trying to keep our heads above water, make a way when we can. Temporary layoffs, Good Times. Easy credit ripoffs. Scratching and surviving. Hanging in the journey. What is it, Chow Line? I heard it was Chow Line. I thought it was Hanging in the Journey. Either way, this is not about the theme song, even though it should. If this was a theme song list, Good Times would be on there. But even show purposes, like it was just a two-parent household, trying to make it work and you're broke. It was like seeing me on TV minus the Africa. They weren't Nigerian, but it was very cool to just see, they are just like me. Everybody actually on the show kind of had something that you either loved or did not like. And that was okay because it was a good balance. Like the dad, he was just like mad, but you could tell he was just stressed all the time and like really trying to keep his kids straight in an environment where they could stray easily, right? Okay. Florida, wasn't necessarily my cup of tea, but you need her, right? She's the mom. She's a little worrisome, not the funniest character, but you need her. JJ, he was a clown, and it depends on how you just take him. JJ, the dynamite, okay, like, it was cool, but you know, once you say stuff over and over, it's kind of like, okay, we get it, dynamite. But he was still funny apart from that catchphrase. And then Thelma, I don't know, she was just pretty, so that worked. Not like, oh, she was dumb but pretty. No, she was pretty. I don't know, I think her voice kind of got to me because it just sounded like she was always trying to tattle. Like her little old self looking 17, talking about daddy, blah, blah, blah. It was just annoying. But you know, her character was solid. Everybody loved Thelma, right? And then Michael. I didn't really care for Michael, but he wasn't a main character, so it couldn't demote the show from the list. He was cool, but it was just like that whole militant thing. Okay, we get it. I just didn't connect with him that often because it was just everything. Everything was black and white and this and that and both. It was too much. It was too much, but it served its purpose. Willona, fine, the nosy neighbor, yada, yada, yada. Now, really what made Good Times on this list is that the kids were able to grow up and the show still went on well. So when they added Penny, a.k.a. Janet Jackson, I was like, oh wow, the kids are grown, but this young factor came in and it worked. Where it didn't work with the Brady Bunch, when the kids grew up and then Oliver came, I was like, Oliver, what? Didn't work. But when Penny came with Good Times, and that whole storyline, and you know, she's the abusive mama, that was cray, and it worked out. And then Penny became a staple of the show. Now, I'm not gonna act like it was flawless. Once Penny started getting older, so you got old kids, the little girl you brought in, she's getting older. Are this still lighting up? Let me turn this up. Well, no, I'll keep it lit up. Anyways, they got older. Then they started introducing spouses and boyfriends. And I was like, I don't know about this Good Times, because Thelma had her husband Keith, who was the corniest man alive. I mean, this was, and not him as a person, I'm talking about his character. He was just corny to me. He had these dang, what do you call it? Not interpretations, what do you call it? Impersonations. He had impersonations, and I was like, is this what you're bringing to the show? Frank Sinatra impersonations? Like, well, it was annoying. But let me tell you the epic moment. Like, this is where I was like, Good Times is a classic. Because all of America, when James, her original husband, had died, oh, my heart stopped. James died, she was acting all good, and then, you know, everybody was kind of worried because she was a little too happy and acting too put together. And then finally, when everybody left, you know, she just broke the glass and said, damn, damn, damn. And everybody could feel it. Everybody could feel that. I felt that, okay? Next is the Cosby Show. I know, Kyle, you can't say Cosby, you know. This is pre-Quaaludes, okay? We're not talking about, listen, take that apart from what we're talking about right here. At the end of the day, the Cosby Show was America's Family at one point. A Cosby Show, that's the first time where I was like, wow, a black doctor and black lawyer. And I thought it was far-fetched. Like, you're like, man, y'all making stuff up for real. A lawyer and a doctor? And you black in one roof, you know? But now it's like, wow, no, that can really happen, and it does happen, you know? So it shed light to that. You had like 5 kids, and it was like the Blackish of its time. Mind you, I would have added probably Blackish, depending on how the season goes, I don't know. But that's why I can't do on-air shows. I have to see how you end up. The premise is always like, hey, we're rich, we're well off, we grew up poor. How are we going to maneuver our children in this world of you're more privileged than we were, but we don't want you to be spoiled, you know? So Cosby Show, when I tell you, apart from the comedy, it was funny. The comedy was great. Felicia Rashad, I was like, she's amazing. You know, I just liked her. She was like classic, but then she was still like sassy with it, gorgeous. Like Felicia Rashad, awesome. Everybody loved Rudy at one point. And of course, you have Vanessa. Like, it's just everybody. You have Denise, and that ended not so great. But what I liked about the Cosby as well is that it brought culture. You know, it wasn't just oh, here's a show and that's it. It really intentionally, and I think, you know, Debbie Allen helped with this, and Cosby and his influence helped with this. It brought, like, you know, they were big on jazz and more classical dance and stuff, and you saw that. Like, Claire would like opera, and I'm like, opera, ugh. You know, not my cup of tea, but at least I could see, you know, I could see past my taste for the show. Love, love, love. Like, when I knew of the show that the kids and the family were gonna perform for Cliff Huxtable's parents, I was all eyes and ears. Like, seriously, that boom, boom, boom. That's really how I knew about some songs. Like, you know, I wasn't really checking for Ray Charles when I was 7, you know, but then I was like, oh, you know, the nighttime, babe, night and day. It just worked out. James Brown, like, anytime they did the performances, I would watch. So they did a really good job. I think that was the intention, to kind of spread awareness for more classic songs like that. And it worked. Thank you so much. It was like an era. It was so classic. And although when the scandal happened, a lot of networks started dropping the Cosby Show off. The thing about the Cosby Show is you had the nuclear family, but then as they got older, the friends got added, and it wasn't even bad. You know how you add more people and it's like, okay, this show is going down. Nuh-uh. Once they had friends, you had Bud, and it was all good. Who else did they add? You had a time where you were focusing on Vanessa's little 3 friends, the one that talked fast, and then the other one. That was cool too. I'm trying to think when it went awry. No, you had Theo and Cockroach, and Justine, that still worked. You know what didn't work though? Well, I didn't really like Sandra anyway, but Sandra and Alvin, okay, fine. Even when they had twins, I didn't really care for their story, but I'm glad they did have a story. So they worked on really developing everybody's story. Denise, that's really, that was really the ooh, because apparently, you know, stuff happened off screen, and Denise was kind of getting pushed out, or she was doing her own thing, and it wasn't a good look for Denise, the character. So I think she was, you know, just growing up, trying to do more risque stuff in her own personal life apart from the show, and that didn't bode well with the show producers and everything like that. So they had to kind of push her off. So then her storyline got weird, because it's like, okay, you went to Africa, came back with a Navy man or something, and then you have a stepdaughter named Olivia. But that worked. Olivia was an awesome addition to the show. And what I was even more shocked about is when they literally brought a whole new family member into it, not only Olivia, you had Cousin Pam. That really was the show stealer. After Cousin Pam came, I was like, more Pam, more Lance. No Sly, but yes, Charmaine. Like, Sly was annoying. I can't even tell you like the last final episode, but all of the episodes are just good on any phase of life. You can watch the old ones, that's funny. You can watch the new ones, and those are probably even funnier. So it was a great way of transitioning through their lives. And speaking about transitions, Denise, when she transitioned off the show, before they had her, you know, marry the Navy person and all this stuff, she went to college, and that actually was a spin-off. When Denise went to college, it was The Different World, Hillman College, a fictional HBCU college. But that was amazing. Different World is the next show on the list. It was with Denise and Jalissa and Whitley and Dwayne, you know. It was okay. I had to get the feel. It was almost like real college. Let me fill you out as a roommate and everything like that. So it took a while. to develop the characters like any show would. But once they did, I was like, wow, this is nice. And really, the show kind of took off when Denise left. Like, she had dropped out of college, aka got off the show. And once she kind of left and they focused on the other kids, it was good. Like, you grew up with these kids, and what they did, just like the Cosby Show, I mean, it's great writers. Even when the core group graduated, it still worked because the graduated group would like get professional jobs but still around the college and still be around, and they're the new class of undergrads, and it worked. You followed like everybody in just what they were doing, and it was awesome. I wanted to be at Hillman University, but it was fictional, you know. But I was like, oh, this is cool. At first I was getting kind of sick of the Dwayne Whitley thing. I was like, oh my gosh, just get together. Are you together? Are you not together? Are you together? Are you not together? You know, and they were just really missing each other. Like, you know, Dwayne had a girlfriend, Whitley didn't. And then Whitley had a boyfriend and Dwayne didn't. And I like you, I don't like you, you know, whatever. But really when Whitley, I was like, wow, she's moving on, and got with Senator Byron, child, and then married him. Oh, was about to marry him. That was the epic moment of the entire show.
Whitley, I love you, and if you'll have me, I want you to be my wife. What the hell are you doing? Hey, I'm sorry, Byron, I love her.
Die! Just die!
Let him go, man. Will you have me, Dwayne, as your lawfully wedded husband from this day forth to having a home and richer for poorer? Baby, please, please.
I do!
That messed me up for a whole week. I was like, this is too much. These writers are doing the most. I cannot. But they lived happily ever after. And at the end of the day, you wanted Dwayne and Whitley to win. So that was awesome. So I know you're thinking, wow, your list is mighty African American. Hold up, I'm very diverse. Chill out. My next one is Friday Night Lights, though. That was a good show. Unfortunately, I got into Friday Night Lights after the hype. So it was off air and I was hearing about it and I was like, that's cool. And then randomly, I don't know if I was on, I think I was on maternity leave or something. And so years ago, someone was like, you know, oh, Friday Night Lights, you never watched it? Oh, it's on Netflix, watch it. I was hooked. I'm talking about morning, noon, and night. I was watching every season. It was ridiculous. It was an awesome show about just how small town football is. And to the naked eye, could be like, whoa, Texas does the most with football, you know? But really, with going into the story more, you realize, no, it's not just about football. It's about like community and the relationships you build with the common bond of football. Clear minds, full hearts, can't lose. That's what it is. It was good, and you know what? I need to watch it again because there's a lot of different dynamics. Like when you binge watch like that and you're not really invested into like every little episode to dissect it, I think you forget some of the details. Like you remember at the time, but like long term, you're like, oh, what happened? Did that happen again? Hold on, how did he get here?
Hey, you pull another stunt like that again and you are off this team. You understand me? You understand me? You get out of my sight. You get out of my sight. What? You're done. Done with what? You are done. Get out of my sight, son. You are done. You are done here. That makes you feel big? Go ahead. You're done, son.
The main coach had to go to another high school that was like the secondary high school of the town and not the main one because he kind of got ousted. Like, I just need to read all about that storyline. And when he went to that school, that's when Michael B. Jordan was introduced, and then it was a whole nother thing, you know? So it was great storyline. You just wanted that team to win and you wanted that team to make it. And even, I know at the end, what did he go to? Pennsylvania or something like that to do, was he at a college? Something like that, or another high school. Look, I gotta watch it again, but either way, I know that it was awesome and every episode had me like, you know? So Friday Night Lights is awesome. Check it out if you have not, but absolutely it's in the top 10 of all time. And I know they've been talking about, oh, doing remakes and everything like that. If it's not the original people, I don't want it. Simple as that. I do not want it. Michael B., are you coming back? Okay, you big time now. Are you coming back to Little Friday Night Lights? I don't know. This next one is another one that I didn't really get into until it was a little too late, and I'm mad at that as well. So I apologize for the shows that go off air because of people like me who like it after the fact. Bernie Mac show. Now, Mind you, and I'm gonna get a lot of criticism because I didn't add Martin, and I'm fully aware that it's a show. I didn't add Jamie Foxx. I didn't add Steve Harvey Show. I didn't add D.L. Hewley. I didn't add Cedric the Entertainer. I didn't add, like, I know there's a lot of comedic shows I didn't add. It's because it wasn't funny. I didn't forget about them. It was not funny to me. Like, Martin was way too over the top. The little Shanae stuff. It was cool for what it was worth, I guess. But I mean, like I said, I don't do slapstick like that. So even some of I Love Lucy's was a little much. But the whole, you know, and you're around in the house, like, it was too much. I was like, okay, like, I get it. It's like, I get it. Not funny ha-ha, but funny oh. You know, I don't know. For me, I was just like, okay, I get it. You're gonna make fun of Pam. You're gonna be Shanae once and this and that. You're gonna go back and forth. Tommy doesn't have a job, blah, blah, blah. Bro Man was kind of funny, but it didn't just make for a top 10 list. But out of those comedic shows, I did like Bernie Mac, and that was another one that was kind of late. I knew Bernie Mac was on. I didn't really give it a chance. I never watched it. I didn't even know what time it came on. And then one time I was, you know, just doing something else. The TV was still on, and I come back, and I don't know what Bernie said to his little three nieces and nephews, but I started laughing. I was like, he's stupid, you know.
Are you blind? Huh? What happened to put some sense in your head, Jordan? Beat you in the head with a dictionary? It ain't gonna do no good, because you ain't gonna see it coming. The big, thick pop bottle glasses you got on. Jordan, I cut you make me so doggone angry, I just want to wring your neck, you stupid little beetle.
Hi, Uncle Bernie.
Stupid little beetle?
Oh, Lord.
And then I kept watching, and I was like, this show is actually kind of funny. What show is this again? And then I just watched from the beginning and caught up again, you know, because it was awesome. I was like, wow, Bernie Mac is funny. And I didn't know how funny he was because all I knew about Bernie Mac was in his stand-ups, he curses a lot. And I don't do cursing. I know, I'm like a 5-year-old with that, but I don't do cursing. Like I don't like shows that have a lot of cursing or anything in it because I don't want that to be part of me. So because I know he like cussed a lot in his stand-up, I really didn't hear him. So I didn't know if he was funny or not. But even with his little family-friendly show, I was like, you could have been funny without all that cursing, you know? Like he was still a funny guy on regular daytime television. And that's good because a lot of the people are, you know, funny in stand-up and then they try to cross over and it's like, oh, they try to water me down and I couldn't really express myself. He was good at crossing over and being like, listen, I might curse a lot on stage, but this show is still gonna be funny and family friendly. And that was something I appreciated. R.I.P. to Bernie Mac, because now I see that he was the funniest king of comedy and I didn't even appreciate him as much as I should have. I'm sorry for that. So after Bernie Mac, simple show, a very simple show, King of Queens, you know? Like, someone said it was mediocre, but it was not. It really was hilarious because Doug Heffernan is hilarious. And he's played by Kevin something something. That's how bad I am. Like, I still call Jaleel White Urkel. So don't be offended if I don't know your real name because you played your character just that well. Doug Heffernan, it's about him and his wife and his father-in-law Arthur, and it's like almost like Seinfeld. It's just a show about not nothing. There is a plot, but there's just different things going on, you know, about his life. Middle class, and they're just kind of maneuver through different situations, whether it be at home, whether it be at work. They have neighbors. His best friend is another couple. They have their own issues. It's just funny. Like, he just has the greatest catchphrases, shuddy, you know, and just how he thinks and what he says. There's just a lot of words where it's like, okay, well, that's now in my vocabulary.
Admit it, you've never taken a leap of faith for me in your whole life.
I married you. What do you call that?
Hitting the jackpot.
Carrie was cool too. She was necessary, but she wasn't my favorite because she just played that sassy New York, loud. What are you talking about? It's just coffee. And I'm like, ugh. You know, it was much. It was like, girl, just be happy. Like, take a chill pill. It's okay. Like, life is not that stressful. Come on now. But she was necessary to kind of balance out, I guess, the show because her dad was cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. He was hilarious though. And her husband, is a doofus. So I guess I'd be kind of on edge too if I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm like the smartest one in this house, you know. But King of Queens, check that out. And you don't have to really watch it in order. Really, whenever it comes on TV, I can just turn it on and just get right into it. I don't even have to know the backstory, and it's just funny all around. This next one, a lot of people probably won't know of it like that. Cold Case, okay? I can't do Law and Order SVU, okay? That would be on the list, but they're on like season 21. It's still going on. That's how good it is. But it can't make this list because it's still on the air. So off the air, Cold Case, and I don't know if you know about it. Cold Case was a show where you basically, what it sounds like, detectives would take old cases from the past, and get like maybe a new tip today and go back and try to solve that case that went cold. And it was cool. It was almost like Law and Order, but it mixed in history too. So you see, like, you know, I remember an episode where I believe, what happened? An interracial couple got murdered. Maybe that was it, something like that. But either way, it took place in the 50s. So you're kind of like going back in time in the 50s and seeing how that was, and kind of realizing, oh wow, that was a different time, and this and that. And this person now went on 20 years later to become this. So it really was like history, and knowing the time and knowing the culture of, you know, whatever the case was about.
She's pretty.
You've been gone a long time.
Did you tell your parents about the baby yet?
I got into Yale. I can't get married. I don't want to be a father.
If you won't tell your parents, I will.
What? You better not.
Yes, it was a criminal case, but also was history, and then it sprinkled in some suspense, as I said in my blog. So that was cool. It did not last long at all. It lasted maybe 5 seasons. I was kind of mad at that. Yeah. I was kind of mad at that because I was like, but I liked it. Like, it was cool. Like, Cold Case was good. So I don't know why it went off. I guess people did not think like me, but I still will put it in a top 10 list because it was that good. Better than that CSI mess. Next is Parenthood. And let me tell you about Parenthood. I'm not talking about Robert Townsend. Shout out to you, but not Zaria and Cece and them. This is not what that list is. Parenthood was another show. It's kind of like This Is Us a couple years ago. So you're just following, what are their names? The Beckermans? I don't know. But you're following these 4 siblings around, and just their different lives. It really is like This Is Us, because, you know, some are married, some are this. One has an autistic son, or one with Asperger's. You know, there's an interracial couple. There's, is there infertility issues? There's just a lot. There's like, oh wow, I'm rooting for you. I'm rooting for you, and this and that. And then the dad later has health issues. You're just really just a normal family, but it's written well to where you're just seeing that dynamics. Because when you have a problem in a family, you want to fix it yourself, but also you try to fix it as a unit. And then it's kind of like, well, what do I tell this person? How do I dispel this information to everybody? And then it really is, I think I connected to it because they had 2 boys, 2 girls. We have 2 boys, 2 girls in our family. So it's a sibling situation to where it's like, well, you know, these 2 click on this issue and these 2 click on this issue, and this person doesn't even know yet, you know. So it really is knowing about the family dynamic, and not being kumbaya about it, just being real about it. So I put Parenthood. Let me tell you though, I was so tempted to take Parenthood off and put Brothers and Sisters. And I don't know if you know about it. I think it stars Sally Field and what's her name? Ally McBeal? I don't know her name. What's her name? The little skinny one. It stars those, and that was a good show. Like, that was probably more drama filled than Parenthood. Brothers and Sisters, look that up. Because I was like, you know what? No, Brothers and Sisters will keep you watching. But Parenthood had a longer run, I think by just a couple seasons, but I don't know. Brothers and Sisters was a very close, because it had drama, okay? Like from the get, it was like, what? I'm not gonna spoil it for you. Well, why not? It's off air. But basically that dad, I guess it was found, I think he passed away, but it was later revealed that he had an affair with this lady and she was still living there, and then she was living close. It was a whole thing. Like the widow had to realize that, you know, her husband was having an affair, and then the children found out, and this and that. And it's just maneuvering through different things. One of the sons had an addiction problem. It was a lot. Like, you know, so you see the difference. Like, Parenthood is just like, oh, regular family dynamic and what happens in life. Child, brothers and sisters was like, hey, we're dysfunctional and we just trying to tell you what's up, you know? So those are two different things, but alas, I will still keep Parenthood on the list. And we're at the last one, private practice. And I know people are like, private practice, but I didn't watch Grey's Anatomy. I'm not really a bloody, gory, oh, his heart stopped, let me reach in his chest, and oof, I don't want to see any of that. So private practice was that mix of medical life that I didn't even know it was a spinoff of Grey's Anatomy. I've never watched Grey's Anatomy before, so, you know, maybe you're like, well, you can't make a list anyway, because that's the best show ever. And then it went on for too long anyway, right? I don't know. I'd never watched an episode, maybe one, but I didn't come back for more. So when I found out it was a spinoff of Grey's Anatomy, I was like, okay. And I just caught myself watching it one day and I was like, this is amazing. It's like not the emergency medical field. You have like a fertility specialist, you have a psychiatric doctor, you have regular general practice doctor, a cardiologist. So it's different. You're looking at the lives of those different doctors, but you're also looking at the different cases that they have to deal with today. Let me tell you something. This is when I was like, this world we live in, child. So there was one episode where this, I think she was a psychiatrist or a psychologist, one of them. I don't know. She was a little brain doctor. She was pregnant. And so she had a patient who didn't get pregnant. Like she wanted to get pregnant or she miscarried or something like that. So the patient saw the doctor pregnant and was like, you took my baby. And the doctor's like, no, it's okay. This is my baby and you lost yours. We'll deal with that grief. No, that patient was convinced that that doctor took her baby. So much so that she came to the doctor's house at night one time, came in, took a knife and literally, I think she like knocked her out, like chloroform or, you know, whatever you do on your face and then you pass out. She did that to the doctor. Doctor passed out. When I think the doctor came to, she was about to cut the baby out her stomach. The doctor came to and had to tell the patient verbally how to cut the baby, who was not all the way cooked yet, out of her stomach. That was the show. I was like, what the heck? Imagine that you're on the floor. Some idiot is above you, like really thinking that she's about to take a baby out of you. She took a knife. And because she's the doctor, she was like, okay, well, don't kill me and the baby. You know, like, don't kill the baby. Like, I'll tell you how to operate. She basically told the patient how to operate on her and take the baby out of her. And she did that. The crazy person cut the baby out of child. After I saw that, I said, child, I don't want to be a doctor. And the things your medical little psychiatrist people do, oh my gosh, like that scarred me for a while. I was like, ooh, when I got pregnant, you think I let people touch me? I was like, Not with your little chloroform and knock me out and cut my baby out, you know? So, ooh, my goodness. So that really was like moments like that was not all. There were so many moments where I was like, oh my gosh, crap got real, you know? So that was private practice. But that's my list, y'all. It was I Love Lucy, Good Times, Cosby Show, Different World, Friday Night Lights, Bernie Mac, King of Queens, Cold Case, you know, I have to make it a dance. Cold Case, Parenthood, and Private Practice. But let me tell you about some of my honorable mentions though. I had a lot of honorable mentions. Not a lot, or it wouldn't be honorable mention, but I know The Practice. Now, I put Private Practice. I'm talking about The Practice. It was a law show. Yes, that was close. That was very close. I was like, Private Practice or The Practice. Listen, after you cut a baby out of a doctor, it was gonna be Private Practice. I'm sorry, The Practice, but you were very close. Like, it was a really cool show. It really is a good show, but I just couldn't do it. I was just like, no, I can't. After you cut a baby, no. It was gonna be Private Practice. But The Practice is a good show as well if you want something to watch. A huge one that people were like, nah, this list is bunk because you don't have this, was The Office. Y'all, I know, Office is funny. Like, I'm laughing at The Office. But here's why The Office didn't make a list. It was an honorable mention though. Maybe the last 4 seasons, like I binge watched The Office, okay? So I'm an Office fan. I'm not a hater. But towards the end, when I was binge watching, if I'm binge watching and at the end I'm kind of just binge watching to like just check it off and say I watched that episode, that's what it was. Now Dwight is always gonna be funny as crap. You know, Dwight was cool, but then there was the moment when the manager, Steve Carell, he left, and then, like, you know, that's when I stopped paying attention. Like, he left, and then there was some British lady, and I was like, get this woman off the show. But she kept on being there, and there were just different things, like the last 3 or 4 seasons, where I was like, this is so boring. Like, this is not even, no. Dwight tried, but even when I was binge watching, I was kind of like in and out, I don't care, you know. So if they would have ended it earlier, it probably absolutely would have made the list. But the fact that I had to go through that struggle towards the end season, that probably, people don't even remember it probably, because only the little heyday shows come on in syndication. Toward the end of the show, watch it on Netflix. Horrible. Okay, so that's why it dropped down a little bit, because you're not gonna have this British lady on the list and not have the fact that someone cut a baby out of the doctor on the list. Yes, I'm keep on coming to that, because that was mind-boggling. But anyways, Smart Guy, and I know you're like, what? Smart Guy, sister, it was cool for what it was worth, but Smart Guy was funny. Not that sister and everything was not, but Smart Guy was like funny, like ha, not I get it, you know? But the reason Smart Guy did not make the show is because the only really funny people I thought were on the show were Marcus and Mo, and that was Jason Weaver and Omar Gooding. So those were the funniest people, but they weren't really the main characters. They were kind of like there to help, you know? So the main character, Taj Mowry, and then Essence, and then the dad, they were okay. The dad kind of got on my nerves because he was kind of corny, but I mean, they were okay, you know? Just like, okay, cool, you're decent. It would have been, but you know, the main characters kind of brought it down. So Smart Guy didn't make the list. And some of the responses that I received about like, hey, you should have added this, were what show? Golden Girls. Now, I didn't watch Golden Girls. I know of the song, like I can sing the theme song like nothing. So it's a top theme song show. But for the actual show, I mean, it's some old ladies like just chilling, right? Like you got the old lady, and then what's her name? Maude. Who is Maude? I don't even know the names. But you know, the lady who played in Maude, she was just like the sarcastic blah, 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 blah lady. And then you have Rose, who was Betty White, who was the ditzy one, and then Blanche, who was like the senior citizen hoe. And just listen, thank you for being a friend, but you just didn't make this list in particular. Doesn't mean you don't have a good show though. I also heard about the Beverly Hillbillies. Now that was too hillbilly for me, okay? I was like, listening to a roar about a man named Ted. I was like, oh gosh, that's not me. I'm not that country. It was just very hokey for me. You have that son who was a doofus, the daughter who was a typical like pretty but not all the way there type person. The only funny person on the show, and that was whenever I don't remember watching 3 full episodes, but whenever I did catch glimpses of it, the granny was kind of funny. She was pretty funny, but that can't carry the whole show. You can't be on a top 10 list because I hate everybody but the granny, and then you're sometimes funny, you know. But it was a cool premise, like, oh, these hillbillies extract money, here's how they are in Beverly Hills. Cool, but not a top 10 list worthy thing. Someone said the Marvel Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. No, Marvel television shows will not make a top 10 list because they don't know how to make television shows. Stick to your hit movies. Okay. Also, what did someone say? The girlfriends. So, and that's good, but it's almost like just a good show. I have to be in the mood to watch it. But it was a good show for what it was worth. Girlfriends was cool. I liked The Game better before BET messed it up. So with CW's The Game, when you still had Derwin and Melanie, that was good. Like I was hooked to The Game, and then it went off, and then it went back to the BET, and I feel like they had to make it a little more ratchet. And then you didn't have Melanie. Like, what are you doing? And then Derwin was Derwin even there anymore? Child, you didn't want it. No. So Girlfriends was cool, not top 10 worthy. And then The Game, I would have put that on if BET didn't pick it up and mess it up. So yeah, but The Game is awesome. I actually probably will watch those beginning episodes again, because 2 thumbs up. Even though I did 1 thumb, 2 thumbs up. There were other things requested like Breaking Bad and The West Wing. Not gonna lie, I never watched those. I didn't watch like Empire and Scandal, but trust me, I wouldn't put it in the top 10 anyway. Breaking Bad and West Wing and stuff like that, I didn't watch it, so okay, fine. If it could have been that good, but I don't know if I would have replaced it with my classics like I Love Lucy and Good Times. I think it would have been in the good show list, not necessarily top 10 list. I don't know. I just am very invested into the shows I told you about. They were awesome. They have timeless moments in them. And hopefully you guys could take me seriously dressed like this. But I had to change the scene. It's holidays, y'all. I'm gonna be off for the next 2 weeks, meaning I'm not blogging, I'm not posting. Well, I'll be on social media. Follow me at Hope Said It. I'll post random stuff on social media. But, and you can find out, you know, kind of what I'm doing. But for my vlogs on Tuesdays and podcasts on Fridays, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it for the next 2 weeks. So I'll see you guys in the new year. I hope you have a very Merry Christmas. Don't forget the reason for the season. And a blessed new year. Don't come up with baggage in 2020. We ain't doing that. Leave that mess in 2019 and I'll see you in 2020. Bye, guys.
Mama said forget that money, cause I with her. I could go beat the blind.
Bam.
Like I don't need the blind.